The Flag of Islam. Chapter 1 The Flag of Islam. The flag of Islam, given by Allah, God, to the lost and found in North America, represents the sun, moon, and stars. The sun consists of fire, which is 853,000 miles in diameter, and on the average of 93 million miles from the earth. The sun controls 9 planets with light and heat which give the planets energy and life. It represents freedom. The moon is part of our earth, it represents equality. The star is light that dispels the darkness of space and bears witness to the sun. The star is without numbers in space. It represents all the stars of the universe and it signifies justice. Allah, God, and the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due, forever found us, his black people here in North America, which is spiritually referred to as the wilderness of North America. He has power over the heaven and the earth. He called us a nation for the first time. This coincides with the Bible, which refers to him as making a nation out of us himself after he found us. Therefore he began at once calling us the lost found nation of Islam in the wilderness of North America. He brought to us a flag to represent our independence as a nation. He offered to us a flag which represents an independent people. All people, races and nations who are independent to exercise the authority of an independent nation under a flag designed by them for their state or country. We the black people are often referred to as being the lost found nation in the wilderness of North America. Since our flag has been given to us to represent us as an independent nation, it is referred to in the words the flag of Islam. All this makes up the flag of Islam, which is the sphere of life in the whole universe of space and man. The nature of its science is the greatness of the unlimited wisdom of the designer, the great source of goodness for all that is under and in the flag of Islam, the freedom, the justice, the equality that is freely exercised by both believer and non-believer under the flag of Islam, which is revealed for the sole purpose of teaching the great unlimited source of mercy and love that the designer has for his creatures. They all enjoy equally the natural benefits of the sun, moon, and stars, the Islamic flag, which are essential for our existence regardless of religious belief. This flag given to we, the lost and found, means that Allah is now making a new nation to become the master of the universe under his guidance. The blind, deaf, and dumb of our black people think that our flag is just a word and they take it for mockery. But it is the truth that we are a nation and we have a flag, and this is not to be taken as a mockery. Let us get at the significance and meaning of the flag of Islam. Chapter 2 The Sun, the Freedom. The significance of the sun in our flag is its freedom of light, warmth, heat, and life and vitamins of life. Allah, God, uses the sun to condemn slavery. The sun covers the whole entire area of the flag. It is represented by the red color of the flag, the total background of the flag. The fact that we are offered the sun in our flag means that Allah, God, is offering to us the entire universe of man. For as the sun covers all life and the whole of the 9 spheres of planets that represent life, the sun acts as a father and a god over life in its work of giving light and dispelling darkness. The sun provides us with its warming, heating, and life-giving rays that serve as a grower and nurser of the physical earth of our planet and of other planets. Without the sun, everything that is of the essence of nature, like our earth, would come to a naught. The sun shines upon everything within her sphere of power. The earth is on the average of 93 million miles from the sun, and the diameter of the sun is 853,000 miles. Right straight through, it is a ball of fire. The sun is one of the most mysterious mysteries of man. It is a mystery where the sun gets its fuel from. It is a mystery whether or not it has any fuel other than just the will of Allah to continue to cause it to burn from the beginning and until such time as he removes it, as he will one day, according to astronomers and scientists of religion. The sun is the source of our eyesight. The sun grows our vegetation of the earth regardless to what kind of vegetation it is. The sun is the master of germinating all seeds. The sun is so powerful and so life-giving that its light and heat is felt at any distance. It strikes an object and it causes that object that it touches to rotate, or it puts it into action. As we know, according to astronomers, Pluto, is 4,600,000,000 miles from the sun. Pluto is the farthest and the last of the planets of the Sun. The Sun does not touch Platoon 12, or 24 hours as she touches the Earth, and yet Platoon gets enough sun to make her rotate on her axis at the same rate of speed that we and other planets are making, 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. The flag of Islam is a powerful flag. This is what I am trying to get you to understand, and there is no nation in the Sun that owns a flag the equal of the one that Allah, God, has offered to we the lost-found people of the Aboriginal Black Nation, direct members, sons and daughters of the Creator. To give to a people the sun as their flag, this represents ownership from the beginning in the creation of the sun, for no nation can take over the sun as an independent flag for that nation, unless they are the owner and that the sun was created by them or by their fathers. We are declared to be children of the very originator of the sun. Since we are the children of the originator of the sun, then we do own the sun, for what Father owns, we own. What is his, is ours. To give this as a flag to us, it means that God is returning to us that which we originally owned from our Father of creation. Allah, God, is making us a universally independent nation. This is what the giving of the sun to us as our flag sums up to be. He is making us independent rulers, and of all his precious creations of planets, the sun is the most precious, and the sun is the greatest gift of gifts. Chapter 3: The Moon, the Equality. Almighty God Allah, in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, added in our flag of sun, the moon. As the moon is in the sun on our flag, it has significance to it. Therefore he makes mention of the moon as being part of our planet Earth. And since the moon is part of our planet Earth, then we own the moon too. The moon is ours. The moon has a definite significance to it that corresponds to our own self as being mentally dead. In such actions and significances of the moon, we the black man in America can read our own history here. Here, we come to the moon that was used to equate our equality. Although the moon is a dead planet, nevertheless in essence she is the equal of the Earth, because the moon is part of the Earth. But the moon was deprived of the nourishment of water. Water is the life of any planet where life can be said to exist. A planet that has no water, it cannot be called a planet. A people who have not the proper education, knowledge and understanding of self as the part of the people that one belongs to is the condition that our slave master put us in. He deprived us of the knowledge of self, which is like the moon being deprived of the Earth's water that it once enjoyed. The surface of the moon was once covered with life vegetation like the Earth. Now today the moon is a black piece of our planet Earth without water and that which water produces, which is life. According to the Holy Quran, it teaches us that Allah, God, created everything out of water. All life came out of water. The moon does not have any water on it, therefore it cannot produce life, but she once had water, life, and so did we. We the black people once had the knowledge of ourselves, but our enemy the white slave masters deprived us of the knowledge of self and we became dead mentally. To restore life to us means that we have to have the truth to restore that life that we lost. Life must come from the truth. As water is the only thing to restore life to the moon, truth is the only thing to restore life to us. It is not impossible for Allah, God, to convey water to the moon again and cause it to produce life again. Allah is well able to do this. He could bring the moon back to Earth and water it on our Earth. He is well able to do that. It is not impossible. He would not bring it back in a solid piece. That is not the proper way that it could be done. But the moon could come in the form of dust to the Earth, and in millions and trillions of years the moon could be restored, if Allah, God, so desired. Allah, God, lay hold on something, the moon, to compare with our history. Nothing could be better than the moon for this comparison, since Allah, God, in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, taught me that a black scientist, bent upon destroying us, blasted that part, moon, away from our Earth. He was the god of the moon, and his intentions were of evil. We used to say, and many of us still say, that Yaqub was the first god of murder, which is true of his race, the white race, that he made. Now, the God who tried to destroy us along with himself, his effort to do so, caused the making of our moon. The God of the moon had murder and the destruction of the human family in his mind. He was not successful in doing so. Allah, God, used this history of that God to teach us what is in the mind of this people, the white race. The moon, the equality. The moon's mass or essence is of the same as that of our earth. It is from this earth. The moon is a part of our earth. The baby that went to the moon wants to write something different than the truth of Allah, God, concerning the moon. But we are too wise for anyone to tell us other than the truth, for we have the truth, and you cannot give us an untruth after knowledge of the truth. Let us review the history of the moon as Allah, God, has taught me. The moon, according to the teachings of Allah, God, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, is a part of this earth. It is as old as the earth. It was not the idea of the God, who took the moon from the earth, to make that a part, a satellite for the earth. His idea was to force his rule upon the people of our planet and force all to speak the same dialect, which he was not able to do. Then he decided to destroy all, including the earth and himself. He went to work by attempting to drill a tube into the earth's surface. It must have reached approximately the center of the earth. Then he filled it with high explosives, which we call dynamite. However, it was 30% more powerful than the present dynamite. Then he set it off. The explosion blasted away a piece of our then Earth, which according to the moon's diameter is approximately 2,160 miles, or about 1/3 the size of our planet Earth. That part, moon, and this part, Earth, were one planet. After that part that you call moon was blasted away from this part, to the distance of approximately 12,000 miles, she turned over and emptied the water onto this part which we call Earth, depriving herself of life. Until this day, the moon has been devoid of the water of life, unable to produce vegetation, unable to moisten the atmosphere, so that man and beast could live on that part of our Earth called moon. In this great explosion, the moon was not blasted far enough to make a complete turn herself while rotating around the Earth. Therefore we never see her other side before she is again entering into the shaded side of our Earth. I hope that you pay good attention to these words. Since the moon has no water and gravitation from the power of water life, which she had before she was blasted away from her own, the Earth, she is made subject to the Earth, because here is the power of growth because of much water, life, covering the surface of the Earth. The moon seems to be begging for her life, water. There is no planet which is worthwhile without the presence of water, since water is the base of life, as the Holy Quran teaches us, that out of water Allah, God, created every life. Poor moon. She lost her life and her children, her beautiful covering of vegetation to adorn her surface. She became an old dried-up piece of earth. She is bossed by the earth and not by the sun. She gets her activity through the earth because her support is from the earth. Poor moon. She cannot receive visitors unless they bring their own water, for she has no water for them. Poor moon. But nevertheless, the poor moon still seeks her life, of which she was deprived, by an enemy, 66 trillion years ago, a long time. The whole earth was not very old when this took place, but very old too. She had gone through the stages of trillions of years herself. She is set out here approximately one quarter million miles for a sign too. It was not the idea of that God to make a sign for us. He had the wicked idea to destroy us because he could not rule us. He destroyed himself and made for us a sign that serves as a reflection of light from the sun to keep us in the knowledge of the event and are looking at the marvelous piece of work dying through the mistake of one of the gods. Poor old piece of our earth lying out there in space. We are to carry that dead piece because it is deprived of life. The other part, our earth, is filled with an abundance of life. We cannot say that we robbed the moon of its life. The enemy robbed the moon of its life, water, and poured it onto this part of the planet Earth. This act of saving the water from the destruction of the moon was of Allah to show that regardless of what happens to the matter, moon, the original water of life, will be saved. How shall the moon ever get its water of life repoured onto her so that she may again become fertile with luxuriant plants growing on her surface and green trees and grass covering her mountains? Will she rejoice in such garments of life again? Can it be said in truth that she can come back to her own? This may seem unbelievable, but as we have already earlier pointed out, this can be done, but is it necessary? Oh, that poor old moon, bleached by time, she is still going on her journey around the earth seeking her life. With her time of rotation around the earth seeking her life. With her time of rotation around the earth and her stages made, she is capable of proving her loss of life with her clinging to the power of earth's gravitation, and since she was the work and creation of the hand of the same God that created her with the earth, she draws one of the most significant signs that she is one of us. The way she affects our life on earth is in order to show that she is part of us. The pouring forth of the lifeblood of the nation from the womb of the woman every 28 days compares with the rotation of the moon around our planet. This shows that the accuracy of truth, if understood by the theologians and scientists, of just the secret of the idea of making and the commanding of the moon, it is impossible to destroy the life of the originator of the heavens and the earth. That life will be cared for. The moon is placed there as a sign of the failure of the effort of that scientist to destroy the life on the earth. The moon, though dead, still has an effect on human life on the earth because she was once joined to her. This force, or sign, on our very life fluid is to show the closeness of the moon and the earth. Since her water was pulled away, her life was pulled away. She shows that she still has power though dead, to prove her oneness with the earth as the Bible relates to the lost found nation of their closeness and connection in the oneness of God in these words, Bible, Revelation 14 verse 13. Blessed are the dead which died in the Lord from henceforth, ye labors, and their works do follow them. This is referring to the so-called Negro who died in the knowledge of himself and his God and religion, and when he awakens to that knowledge of himself again, he shall live again. The blasting away of moon by an enemy that robbed the moon of its life, water, and poured it onto this part of the planet Earth can also be compared to the evil white slave traders guided by John Hawkins, the explorer, to come among us and take us by force and bring us to this part of our earth among strangers whom our fathers knew not. And so doing they made us to lose all knowledge of ourself and our kind, like this man or God who in his frenzy to try to force all the people to believe as he believed and to speak the same language with no difference in dialect caused the deportation of the moon from the earth. So it is with our enemy today. He wants us all to kneel and bow to his wave of life, and if he cannot get us to do so, he wants to be rid of us and our earth. Perching himself on the moon would give him a vantage point to attack those who would come outside of the gravity of the earth to attack him. He could send rockets speeding from the moon the same as he is putting his technology to work against us among the dead of our kind. He sits among them and listens to what they have to say. He weighs their knowledge of the truth and their lack of knowledge of themselves, him and their God. Then he can work among the dead, spiritually dead, of our people to sow insinuation and hatred of each other to his advantage. He divides the black people against each other so that he can take those who are ignorant and misunderstanding and dried of knowledge of self. The symbolic picture of dry bones that Ezekiel prophesies of, Bible Ez. 37, also bears witness to the above comparison of the moon and the fall of our people from our own. The bones were dry, and they were divided one against the other, but the call of the prophet went out, hear the words of the Lord, and live they united, but they had no life in them. The spirit of life had to be breathed into them. This spirit of life means the knowledge of self and others. After the spirit of life was breathed into them, there was a great host of people, army. This is what is now coming into reality among the so-called American Negroes. We have been here for 400 years, and all during this time we have been the tools for an experiment on the part of the white slave master and his children. Now, being without the knowledge of ourselves and totally devoid of the truth, we have been clinging to our enemies who have robbed us of the knowledge of our life, as the moon still clings to the earth, as the earth still has her life, water. She cannot get away from it until life, water, is again poured upon her surface. So it is with the so-called American Negro. He cannot leave the white man until he is made wise to the white man and learns that he is an enemy and that his father brought him, black man, from his people, imprisoned him and taught him the wrong teachings. He whipped and beat the so-called Negro into submission and divided the families as soon as the baby was born. The baby was not allowed to be reared by the mother. They sold it to their brothers so that he would not love his mother and father and have no knowledge of them. This went on for centuries. Therefore today, the so-called Negro does not have much love for self and kind because the white slave master reared them up, divided. One slave master reared the parents, making them to come up without the tender love of father and son and mother and daughter. This is why it is so hard to unite the black man. An enemy reared him up against himself. Pitiful poor black man, who was blind and lost to the knowledge of self. Bible Isaiah 42 verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled, they are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses, they are for a prey and none delivereth, for a spoil and none saith restore. This is the truth. Nothing suits the white man better than putting the so-called Negro in jail or shooting them outright. He is now spoiled by the enemy's teaching and feels proud of it because he does not know his enemy nor himself. He takes his enemy for a friend. This is the great harm done to the so-called Negro by white people. Poor black man. He cries out now for the knowledge of himself like the moon keeps clinging to the earth's sphere of gravity because the earth has its, moon's, water on it. As you will be talking today or tomorrow with some of our spiritually blind, deaf, and dumb black people, they will say, "What is wrong with me staying with the white man? I lost everything I had with him. I do not need to go anyplace. I just need to make him treat me right and give me some of what he has." This cannot be done so easily because of the wise knowledge of the enemy. Poor black man of America. The moon lost its life many years ago as we lost our life 400 years ago, the little group, the so-called American Negro I refer to. The black nation lost their spiritual life, knowledge of self and God, 6,000 years ago. You must remember this number 6 goes along with the making and rule of the white man. Remember his number is mentioned in the Bible as being 666. Revelation 13 verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. The beast is the devil, white race, who was made 6,000 years ago, and by it being according to our own number it refers to 66 trillion years of our deportation from moon, and then the other 6 refers to the very beginning of our making of the earth, which was done in 6 periods of time. I hope that you scholars and scientists who read this book and who look deep into words, think well of what I am writing, for it's from the spirit and understanding of the all-wise Supreme Being who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever. When we the so-called one-eyed Negro receive our lost life, knowledge of ourself and kind through the coming of God in person, Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, and by he, himself raising a messenger to teach truth of us and our enemy, good and evil, this would be the time when the God would restore its water, life, to our poor moon. Could it be joined back onto the earth? It is possible that she receive her water, life, again and be joined onto the earth. It is possible after our being restored to the knowledge of our nation, God, and religion. But as I stated earlier, we must ask the question, is it necessary? But as the Holy Quran teaches us that the present God is capable of taking away all that we see and know of the heavens and the earth and bringing in a new heaven and earth. He is also able to reproduce this one. The Bible teaches us that he will restore all things. Bible, Matt. 17:11 verifies this. If he will restore all things, then will he restore the moon as she is part of our earth, but was robbed of her life, water? The black man of America is prophesied in a symbolic way throughout the Bible of becoming the choice of God to produce a nation of gods that the equal has never been in the past, just as we never had in the past, white people on our planet Earth. They were made different, taught different, and became a strange ruling power among us. Before the white man, there was nothing of the kind before. Before the making of the white race by Yaqub, the earth was populated with black people. The so-called Negro mistakenly takes the white man to be a friend of the Almighty God of righteousness. They are not the friend of the God of righteousness or the people of righteousness. They seek to destroy them. You see how plans are always in the making to destroy me because I teach the truth, and the truth will bring salvation to all black men on the earth. The enemy is now at work seeking to thwart God and kill me, which they probably will not be able to do because of the protection of God. Have you ever noticed that every time the enemy tries to interfere with the peace of the Muslims, God retaliates against them in other lands and even right here in America? The Muslims are a small group throughout the country, but there is an unseen hand which brings about retaliation. God must do this in protection of his people whom he has chosen and because of the savings of the prophet. Bible is 49:25, but saith the Lord, even the captives of the mighty shall be taken away, and the prey of the terrible delivered, for I will contend with him that contendeth with thee, and I will save thy children. We can see how the moon carries a great significance to the time. As we study the comparison between the history of the moon and the history of our degradation from our own people, you will see that it signified something that was to come and something that is yet to come. It took us 66 trillion years to bring us to a turning point of its significance. Not only does it signify, and is compared with our own history of forced slavery and deprivation of knowledge of self and kind, but it carries a much deeper significance to something that is yet to come behind the removal of the present world. Let us go further in our study of the moon and compare the number of years of the white race's time to rule with the age of the moon. Allah, God, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, taught me that the time of rule of the planet Earth of the white man was 6,000 years. And this number 6, if we divide these 6,000 years into hundreds, we have 60 hundreds. If we added the time that it took to make the white man, 600, we then have 6,600 years. Then we add the 6 work days of the week, which is in memory of the 6,000 years that he would live. This was to keep him reminded that he must work 6 days and rest on the 7th. Bible Exodus 20 verses 9 and 11. Therefore, we have 6 days, which means 600 years in the making of him. He was given 6,000 years to live and to rule us. This makes a total of 6,600 years. The God gave him a reminder of the end of his time so that he would know it when it comes, that he works 6 days and rest on the 7th day. Then this 6 days added to the other 2 SIXS makes 3 SIXS involved in his time, which 666 is his number. This corresponds with what he says is a man's number. The 3 SIXS mentioned in Revelation 13 verse 18, Bible, that is his number, and it is the number of a man. The man is the black man who has a number of 666, but not 66. The 66 here would represent an extension of time, which is 60 years, in one of these numbers, and the scientists know. This 60 years is the extension of time given to the enemy and was taken out of his calendar to keep him from knowing the time of his end. When a man dies, he rests from all of his labor. Today, Allah, God, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, has revealed these secrets which have been kept out of the minds and ears of the black people for the past 6,000 years, the time of rule of the white man. Oh, such great signs as have been shown in the heavens and in the earth today. Signs of the destruction and removal of a people who were made to be an enemy of the black nation for the past 6,000 years, the discovery of the possibility of sending cameras to other planets in order to get close-up pictures of them and the activities on the surface, and to learn whether or not there is a master civilization on some of these planets that could rule us. No. According to the teachings to me of Allah, God, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, there is no civilization on any other planet that is as wise as we are on this planet Earth. We are the wisest of all life in the universe. We are the gods of the universe. Since the moon's number is 66 trillion years and the white man's number is 6,600 years. From the time of his making to the time of his end, the revelator of the Bible. Revelation 13 verse 18 says that his number is the number of a man. The man is the black man who brought about the deportation of the moon 66 trillion years ago. He was a god, black man. We never had any other people on the earth, other than the black people until 6,000 years ago, according to the teachings to me of Allah, God, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever. All of the races and different colors of people which we have on the planet today were brought from the grafting and making of the white man by his God, Yaqub. Many races have been produced from the four colors, black, brown, yellow, and white, and the intermixing of these colors. The Earth's population is dominated by their four major colors, black, brown, yellow, and white. The number of the white man is truly the same as that of the black man who caused the deportation of the moon from the Earth. We can add another 6, because it was 6 trillion years between the creation of life out of darkness to the creation of the present-day sun, which took 6 trillion years. Therefore, if we would add that figure on to the time of the age of the moon, we would have 3 there. But we always have 3 six throughout the whole entire stages of the Earth. It was created in 6 periods of time according to the Holy Quran, which is the most accurate and truthful book, if understood, in the hands of men of the earth. We see then that Allah used the history of the work of the God of the moon, 66 trillion years ago, to teach us of something of ourselves and of our enemy. Here, we the black man in America stand as a moon devoid of wisdom and the knowledge of self and others, and the moon is devoid of water. We were robbed by a mastermind man with the purpose in mind to destroying the life of the black man. That is what he began with. In the history of the making of the white man, Yaqub, the maker of the white race, taught his people to destroy the black babies in the very beginning, and this is his ultimate aim, to destroy all the black people of the earth. The white man in bringing us to North America from our native land was like the moon dropping its water back on this part, the earth, through the explosion that caused it to be blasted from this part. This history of the white man bringing us out of our native land and people to rob and divide us one against the other under ignorance and lost knowledge of self was in order to get even with our black people for casting him out of Arabia into the wilderness and hillside of what is now called Europe. The white man being made and not a creature from our Father the Creator of the universe, the white man was made merciless. Therefore, the white man being without mercy of God and being an enemy of truth, he was well qualified to do us the worst harm that any human being could do. The white man being deprived of mercy by nature, then he could never be merciful to us the righteous, who by nature he was made an enemy against. So the father of the white man easily captured and brought our black father into submission, and we being the children of the black father, we were born blind, as the Bible teaches us in Jesus' parable of the man who was born blind. This refers to us. We were born blind to the knowledge of self for 400 years. We became totally dead. And the prophets prophesied that we must be resurrected and restored to life again, knowledge of self. As if a cloud were sent to the moon to pour water down on her surface which would produce life again, the only way we would be restored mentally to the knowledge of self, Allah, God, Himself came. In the Bible, the book of Ezekiel represents God as coming Himself to give us life. The history of Solomon further bears witness to the coming of Allah, God, Himself, and the signs made in the history of Solomon in sending deputies out to look for the murdered architect who was the great architect of his temple. But, on finding the architect murdered by his abductors, the architect had been dead for so long that the messengers could not bring him back to his temple to be buried under it. So the king himself had to go out to show them how to lift him out of the grave. This is a sign of the coming of Allah, God, and the person to raise up we the mentally dead and restore our life to us. There are other significances to the destruction which took place on our earth and which caused the moon to be blasted from the earth, but this that I give here is to show why Allah, God, used the moon to show forth the significance of our history under the white American slave master. Do not forget that the intention of the two gods, the God of the moon and the God of the white man, are the same. The white man would by no means bring us away from our native land then restore us again back there. He did not have that in mind when he brought us here. Nor does he have it in mind to help us, but since trouble has arisen in his own house, he is willing to throw us out rather than take the suicidal step of trying to kill us, which will also cause an immediate destruction of his own life, because the God of the lost found members of the Aboriginal people is present, and he would destroy such plan and bring to a naught and destroy such planners who would try to destroy us. Nonetheless, it is in The mind of the white slave master's children to destroy us, since he made us blind, deaf, and dumb to the knowledge of ourself, and now he hopes to destroy us to keep our own black kind from again recognizing us as their black brothers and sisters equal to them, the same as the moon is equal to the earth, only the moon is deprived of water and we are deprived of knowledge. Once we get the knowledge of ourselves and others, the giver of the knowledge being God himself, his aim in doing so is to put us on top. Since he, the divine supreme being, is on top, he wants to put his servants on top. He will do this for every one of us who believe and will choose him for our God as he has chosen us to be his people. For we are the children of the aboriginal creator, and we are equal, and we are justified in being put back in our own. As, if every one of my people understood this of the truth that I am trying to make them to understand of God and of ourselves, before this book would be read they all would be united unto our God and follow his servant. This is the aim and the purpose and the work that he, Master Fard Muhammad, God in person to whom praises are forever due, came to do. He came to restore us back to self. All of these organizations that are trying to exploit this prophecy and truth cannot be successful in again dividing themselves into groups under a group leader to try and bring about unity of the people of the nation of the black nation here in America united under one leader. They cannot do that. They must unite under a leader whom God himself made for them, as it is written. Once we understand the root of the creation of heaven and earth and its function today, we learn that as a whole such function is under a God and a servant. So when we divide ourselves up into groups and each one wants an independent leader, this is the work of the devil, white man. The devil brought us here for the purpose of deceiving us, and putting one against the other is the basis of the rule of the white man. He has no power to rule black people unless he is able to divide them one against the other. For if the black man will unite into black and take for his leader a divine guide, this will make the black man again a great nation that will rule the civilizations of the planet Earth. I am that one whom God has chosen. He has chosen me, and he guides me himself, and then he chose me as a guide for you. Allah, God, has the power to force us into submission to his will. Whatever he wills, it will be done. You cannot defeat his will, aim and purpose to do what he pleases. So it is that to be equal today, we have to have equal knowledge and superior knowledge of self and kind. And we must use that superior wisdom to bring a better life than the life that destroyed our life, white race. The truth that I am teaching you came from the very mouth of Allah, God, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad to whom praises are due forever. Any one of you, if you accept this truth, it will make you superior and a dominant people over others. You no more can submit to the teachings of this world, white race, because the truth makes you feel proud of self because of its own self-exalting and strength of stability. It forges you into the zone of wisdom. The moon, the sign of equality. It was equal until it was torn away from the earth and lost its water. Water is the base of life. This is the reason that Allah, God, has taught me that the moon is in our flag. Among other things, the moon and its history compares to our history in being taken from our main native land and black people. Chapter 4 The Stars, the Justice. Allah, God, placed on our flag the star which signifies justice. As it is in the universe, the physical star, or stars, justifies the work of the Creator as the sun and her family of planets. These stars that we see in the distance, they seemingly are without end or calculations. All measurements justifies the center here of life, in the circle of the sun. As the space is filled with stars for as far as our eyes, or artificial eyes, telescopes, can see. We are unable to see out of the sphere of our space of stars. The stars justifies the creation of Allah, God, and regardless to how brilliant their light may be, when we are in the sunlight the light of the stars become an inferior light. In the sunlight we are unable to see the starlight. Scientists have proven that stars, like the sun, are balls of fire, therefore no life exists on stars or in the stars. It is their purpose to serve as balls of light like the sun. But stars have no life on them. Stars have no vitamins in them that we can rely on. And yet, the stars justify the great mastermind or the creator of them. And they are used to justify the spiritual people and the spiritual teachings of the divine creator. The stars are witness bearers. Every believer in Allah, God, is like the stars of the heavens above us. The believer bears witness to his Creator, that He is God, the supreme being over all. And since we belong to the Creator of heaven and earth, we are justified by the Creator as being His people. We, the black people in America, have been lost among a non-member of people of divine. Therefore the divine supreme being Himself seeks His own. We are divine people by virtue of our creation. White people are not divine. After the making of this people, the white race is always referred to as the devil due to the wickedness of the people. They are the first people in our universe ever to be called by the name, devil. Devil means a totally wicked people and the father of wickedness. We, the black people, are the people out of which Yaqub, the father of the white race, was born. Yaqub was the same as we, until he entertained the idea of making an enemy for us. Yaqub himself was not an enemy, but his wisdom, knowledge and know-how to make an enemy for us caused him to be classified then as being a chief devil or enemy of the righteous. There are many signs that we use today to represent ourselves as being justified for something. Most times, it is the star that we make as an emblem to represent ourselves as being justified or authorized by the Department of Justice to do such and such thing. Note back years ago, the white race used to use the 6-point star to justify themselves as being the legal authority to do certain official work. But now today, the white race wears a 5-point star, which means that he is no longer living in his independent 6 star, which justifies his 6,000 years of authority and rule over us. Now the white man wears a 5-point star, which is our sign, for he is now living under our sign and in our day of rule and authority. We are justified by justice to take over their rule. The 5-point star is basically recognized regardless to what company he may enter. Of course, there are stars with many points. There are stars with 7, 8, 16 points, and so forth. When we add more points to the star, we add more power and authority to that particular emblem. It becomes an emblem to represent the person or that body of authority in which he is a member. So Allah, God, has added this sign, the star, to our flag, that we are also justified to have and to exercise the freedom and the equality as any independent nation has had to enjoy freedom, equality, and justice among the nations of the earth. Meanwhile, we are imprisoned from freedom of the sun and equality of the moon and justice of the star by the enemy of the Creator, the white race. So let us all unite and rise up and accept our flag, which represents the whole entire creation of God. No, brother, it does not mean that everybody owns this. Everybody may be living under it, but we are the real owners of the sun, moon, and stars. This is what we have been lost to the knowledge of. I should give you the words of our little song which we sing in honor to our emblem, the flag of Islam. It goes something like this. We are fighting for Islam, and we will surely win. Allah has given to us a national, the sun, the moon, and the star. So let us rise, O ye black man, and fight for your own national emblem, the sun, the moon, and the star. Allah, God, and the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, said to me that the earth belongs to us, the black man, and whatever is around it and on it and in it. Praises are due to him forever for bringing to us again, ourself and our property, the universe of sun, moon, and stars.